Welcome to episode 14 of the How to Workout series. I understand that name sounds arrogant, but I just wanted something that was easily Googleable. In this episode, you're going to see several weeks worth of highlights from the gym, as well as one full day of pretty typical eating. The gym stuff represents my performance goals in training, which are also, I believe, a pretty good representation of the Army's goals for us as soldiers. With that said, my views are just my views and not the Army's. We're going to start off with the dumbbell snatch here. This is 85 pounds and my goal is to do 5 repetitions. This exercise kind of intimidates me. It's somewhat new for me and I'm still learning. That's 3 and I'm feeling like I can do a few more. This exercise is one that I recognize as being a pretty good judge of whether or not I am strong and a good athlete. So when I start getting towards the end of a set here, I get all sorts of doubts running through my mind, telling me that I should quit and that I might not make it and that I'm not good enough. And what I'm trying to do here is just what my body can do. I'm just allowing myself to do the repetitions that my body can do, regardless of what my mind says or regardless of what I think I'm feeling. I'm just doing what my body can do. And that's something that I tell my clients all the time. Do what your body can do. And lo and behold, I hit 7. That's a new record for me. Now we're going to move on to squats. And before we squat, we must prepare. This is something I do prior to every squat workout and deadlift workout for that matter. And it's just a way of optimizing load distribution. That is stabilizing the midsection, mobilizing the hips, mobilizing the T-spine, and doing a little ankle and calf work as well. What that does is it moves the load away from my midsection and down into my hips, or in other words, my glutes, and up into my T-spine. In addition to that, by way of working on my calves and ankles, I do stay a little bit more upright because I'm able to get my knees just marginally more over my toes. I try not to be too pushy about a lot of things, specifically so I can be pushy about a few things. And this is one of those things. I really want to see more people doing this sort of stuff prior to heavy sets of squats, heavy sets of deadlifts, and even bent over rows. This will make those exercises a whole lot better. Not only safer, but you will perform better in those exercises. You will lift heavier weights for more repetitions if you have a more efficient load distribution. So once again, I'm mobilizing the T-spine, I'm stabilizing the midsection or the core, and I'm mobilizing the hips. I'm also doing a little bit of soft tissue work for the calves and ankles, which will keep me a little bit more upright. At my advanced age and experience in the gym, I have made for myself the goal of using perfect or near perfect technique on all of my exercises. So that's why I do all the warm-up stuff. And then when I'm doing my exercise, I really try and keep it tight. I have a goal for this exercise and I'm gonna share it with you. I'd like to hit 225 pounds for 40 repetitions. A great number of years ago, I hit it for like 28 or 31 or something like that. But I'd like to hit 40 smooth, perfect repetitions. That would make me feel really good. You'll notice I have classic low bar positioning and a grip on the bar, but I have somewhat of a hybrid squat technique. I am pretty deep. I'm a little bit more upright than your average power lifter, although I am most certainly not as upright as a high bar squatter. Here we've got the first meal of the day, 12 egg whites, AG1 and orange juice, and 5 makkor or Swedish sandwiches. Very simple. I drink a boatload of my own fresh pressed orange juice. Here we've got the dumbbell clean and jerk. I've got 100 pounds and I'm gonna do 2 repetitions. I'm trying to get underneath as much as possible here because that maximizes your ability to get the weight overhead. And just like the dumbbell snatch, this exercise is one I recognize as being a great test of strength. And for that reason, my mind is telling me all kinds of weird things. And already after one repetition, I want to quit. But again, I'm just trying to do as many as my body can do. I'm letting it decide. Here's my non-dominant arm. All of these exercises that require a little bit of technique are harder on your non-dominant side. Now we're gonna go for a walk, a farmer's walk to be specific. I've got half body weight or 1/4 body weight in each hand, and I'm gonna walk as long as I can. I want at least 10 minutes. Here I'm gonna hit 11:10. This is extremely mentally challenging. We've got meal number 2, a smoothie. I literally live off of smoothies. Disregard my thumb, please. Now we've got assisted Nordics. I don't remember if I stole this exercise off someone or if I came up with it myself. But I can tell you one thing for sure, and that is that I am not strong enough to do an unassisted Nordic. In fact, I would say that exercise is essentially worthless to me. I just fall. So using the ball, I am allowed to get, first of all, a much more controlled negative, but second of all, I'm able to get somewhat of a good positive as well, and that's really important. I would say that I am representative of the majority of the population that does this exercise in that we cannot do an unassisted Nordic. So if you're one of those people as well, go ahead and give this version a try. Here we've got the rotational chest pass. I'm doing my very best to push the ball into the wall rather than throw the ball. But as I'm watching this, I see that I did not do as good of a job as I would have liked. Nonetheless, I like this as a power exercise for the chest and the trunk. It's really a great trunk rotation if you haven't done that before. The thing is, the ball is very close to you the entire time when you're actually rotating. And that's one of the rules I have for all trunk rotations. That happens to be an exercise that I'm very, very careful with. So I like the proximity of the weight to the body as you're actually doing the rotation. And the fact that it allows you to use a lot of force in the movement is somewhat unique. So this is a cool exercise that I think you should try out sometime. Here I've got some melon. I eat melon like nobody you've ever seen before, and I love this exercise. This is the makeshift T-bar row. I'm actually using a V-bar attachment. I got the bar in the landmine attachment, and I'm using 25-pound plates. That's important because their diameter is smaller, and they will allow you to bend further over, which is important when you're training lats. You should be as close to parallel with the floor as possible. Last but not least, we have the 1-minute jump rope. This is yet another test that I used to do all the time with my clients. You're simply going to jump rope for 1 minute and count the jumps. No running, no single legs, no double unders, just regular traditional jump rope for 1 minute and count the jumps. Here, unless I am incorrect in my counting, I hit 205. That's pretty good. The only real issue, though, that you can't hear because I was forced to mute the volume on this is that my rope keeps hitting the squat rack behind. So I'm getting kind of irritated with it and having to move forward like pretty darn often. But otherwise, I did pretty good here. I really encourage you to try this test of fitness, not only because it's really, really hard, but because you get a number which you can use to try and improve on a week-to-week basis. Specifically, that is what makes this a great test of fitness. Here we've got dinner, Russian food tonight, very similar to Swedish food, salted herring, boiled potatoes, fermented carrots, and borscht. I like this so much that I couldn't stop myself. I totally overate. I estimated 1,500 calories for this dinner alone. And after dinner, we had pineapple for dessert. And I'm not worried about it. What I want you to know, though, is that this pile of candy and all sweets and all of the kind of pure junk food stuff that you and I define as pure junk food has remained entirely untouched in my household and anywhere I go in my body for years and years now. Not a single bite, not a single morsel. And that is because I'm constantly feeding my body with a good amount of high quality food. It doesn't require a lot of discipline for me to stay away from this kind of stuff. Quite simply, not being hungry decreases the amount of discipline I have to use or I have to stay away from this junk. Staying away from this kind of stuff is, I believe, more important than people give it credit for nowadays. I feel considerably worse eating this sort of stuff than I do eating other natural foods with a similar amount of sugar, for example. That's called the substitution method. Yeah, I drink a lot of fresh squeezed orange juice and eat a lot of fruit, but those things don't have nearly the negative effect on my digestive system and overall well-being as this pure crap does, basically. You know, even pizza and hamburgers are not in the same category as this stuff. This is the stuff that I really want to avoid.